where thieves break in and steal. Well, you missed it. But lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where neither moth nor rust destroys, and where thieves do not break in and steal. But heaven sounds like a wild place, doesn't it? Anyway, for a little clarification there, at least metaphysically, when we talk about heaven in metaphysics, we're mostly talking about consciousness. We're especially talking about that part of our consciousness, again, that is one with God, and we could call that being in heaven. Whereas earth is usually more about body, material stuff, the material realm. Yes, so if you've noticed, things in the material realm can be destroyed, can rust, can be stolen, can go away, right? Whereas things in the absolute realm, as we would call them, things in the God realm are eternal, are unchanging, are worth laying up treasures for. So in my opinion, and of course, I have no idea truly what Jesus meant, but I like to think he meant that we don't want to lay up treasures that we can only access after we're dead. That we can experience heaven now. We can also experience hell now. Has anybody been there? Has anybody been in heaven and hell, like both places within a couple of minute period? Yes, because heaven is when we remember, and hell is when we forget. And hell is a place we learn the consequences of forgetting. It's not necessarily a bad place. It's where we learn. So Jesus is reminding us again that we might want to feed that which we are in truth, so we can experience more of heaven while we're here. Does that sound okay to everybody? In fact, Eckhart Tolle says that's why we're here, to bring heaven to earth. Relearn is right, because as kids, we didn't know any different. But apparently, we did learn some other things. Okay, so we can do that. We can experience heaven on earth, because again, heaven is what we experience every single time we're in a full awareness of our God self. So I'm choosing heaven today. I don't know about you. It's amazing to me how often I make other choices. But again, that's how I learn. That's how I have to see the consequences of my choices to make different choices, don't I? So I would imagine you agree with me that if we're thinking of our highest truth, it wouldn't be our schmutz. It wouldn't be our brokenness. It wouldn't be our wounds or our fears or our issues. It wouldn't be all the reasons why we can't be our God self. It would be our God self. It would be our wholeness. It would be love. Yes or yes? So the fourth principle simply reminds us that we want to say yes to that more, and we want to say no to the other stuff. We want to say yes to what is true and no to what isn't. We want to pay more attention to truth than to appearances of things. We want to pay more attention to truth than even to facts. Would you agree with me that truth and facts are not necessarily the same thing? Have you noticed facts change? I mean, it was a fact that when I was a kid and you ordered the diet plate, you would get a hamburger without the roll and some peaches in heavy syrup and cottage cheese. Does everybody remember this? And then the diet plate became the roll. And then somewhere along the way, the roll got bad again, and now we're back to the hamburger and the cottage cheese. So did digestion change? Facts are based on current understanding. Facts are based on appearances. It's not the same as truth. Truth is based on eternal, unchanging principles, not some nutritionist's idea of what the truth is. So we want to invest time, energy, effort in things that remind us of truth, that keep truth center stage, right? That we want to spend more time on the island of peace in our soul. And by the way, it's not a horrible place to be. You're not going to call me up tomorrow if you do this saying, God, I wish you didn't say that. Peggy, you're on the laughing side. God, it would be lovely to spend more time on the, thank you, Rick, on the island of peace in our soul where we're not, because there is a place. And gosh, could it come in handy in this world today? A place where we're free, we're untouched by negativity, by divisiveness, by issues, where there's nothing to work out, there's nothing to overcome. It's the one place in our consciousness where life stops being a problem to be solved and becomes something to appreciate and experience and express and enjoy and celebrate. Why wouldn't we want to spend more time there? I have no idea. But we could spend more time there. It's just a choice. So, prayer and meditation are our main tools, or at least this is what Charles Fillmore called accelerated mind action, because if you remember, the third principle is called the law of mind action. Our dominant thoughts tend to grow in our consciousness and frame our experience of reality and all that. So if we want to raise consciousness, if we want to have a higher point of view, if we want to be able to remember and access that island of peace in our soul, then prayer and meditation are what bring us there. And the more time we spend there, the more we are prepared for life. But I don't know about you, but I've done beautiful meditations, and 5 seconds later, I'm screaming at the top of my lungs because Hillary parted her hair on the wrong side, and she doesn't even part her hair. Sorry, it's the only thing I could think of in the moment. Are you with me here? I remember a story about John Gray, who wrote Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus. You remember this book? And supposedly John Gray spent 9 years in a silent retreat as a monk. 9 years without saying a word, praying and meditating, probably 20 hours a day. And according to John Gray, he got out of this retreat, the first person he ran into with his mom, and he went ballistic. And so I'm not saying this to dissuade you from doing prayer and meditation. He should have waited. He should have waited to check out his mom. Tried it a few other people first, would have been my advice. But are you with me here? It's not enough. We need a booster shot. We need reminders through the day. And that's what affirmations and denials are about. And that's what I'm going to talk about today. I assume if you liked praying, you would be praying. I assume that you've heard us recommend meditation for 25 years. If you were going to do it, you'd be doing it. Does anybody meditate here regularly? Well, good. I'm glad I decided not to talk about it. Denials, mostly, is what I want to talk about. And a denial is not a denial of the fact, okay? We're not denying we had a thought. We're not denying anything about it other than it's not our highest thought. It's just a way to get our attention. It's denying that this thought or this feeling or this person has any power over me unless I give them power. And the classic denial is something like that. This thought has no power over me, or this thought is not my highest thought. But the words don't matter, folks. You could say, Shalom Aleichem. That would be a good thing to say, by the way, but it doesn't matter. the point is, we're trying to get our attention back so we can put it on truth. Right? So if we can do whatever we say, if it's, sometimes I think the best denial is just like what I suggested in your meditation. That's interesting. Or what I consider the best denial of all is, everybody repeat after me, ready? And so if we're really paying attention, now I'll just speak for me, my thoughts can be hysterically funny, at least very entertaining. And the reason I think a laugh is the most powerful denial is we're trying to disempower a pattern of thinking that perhaps we've had for many, many years. What is more disempowering than laughing at it? Especially if we do it without any judgment of ourselves. See, this is the key point. We don't want to do a denial from a place of self-judgment. We don't want to do a denial from a place of this, I'm stupid. We don't want to do it from a place of Stu told me not to do this and I've done it 50 times in the last 10 minutes. We don't want to fight against ourselves. We don't want to make ourselves wrong. Wouldn't that be defeating the purpose? If we're trying to get to heaven? If we're trying to remember we're in heaven? Yeah. So we want to do it with lightness. We want to do it, hopefully, from a state of consciousness that's higher than the one we had the thought on. It's terrible English, but hopefully you got it. And we want to do it with the feeling of truth. You know, I could stand here until I'm blue in the face and say, I am abundant, I am abundant, I am abundant. But my back of my mind is like, no, you're not. No, you're not. Did you look at your bank account lately? If I'm saying I'm abundant, but I'm feeling lack, guess which one I'm going to experience? We want to get into the feeling. And we certainly don't want to beat ourselves up. This is why we don't want to forget about the prayer and meditation part, because that can help us be prepared for this and make it a little easier for us to remember. First of all, it'll help us become aware when we're entertaining less than our highest. And again, when we do, let's just say, that's interesting, or laugh. Bring some lightness to it. Because if we bring some lightness to it, we don't lay a lot of heavy stuff on ourselves, it's going to be much easier to make a different choice in the next moment. And that is the key, even though that's the key I've given you. We want to make a different choice in the moment. We want to say something or think something or feel something in that very next moment that is true. And that's why it's recommended that we do denials and affirmations together. Once we have created a little more room in our hard drive by deleting and denying some of the stuff that's not true, we want to fill that space with what is, because guess what? If we don't do that, it's going to get filled in with more untrue. And one of our teachers gave me a beautiful visual for this. It's like, does everybody have a drawer in their kitchen where they dump everything? and so the drawer is full of treasures and it's full of junk. Eh? So if all we did was affirmations, it would be like just putting more treasures in the drawer. You still can't find them unless you get rid of some of the junk. And if all we do is denials and take all the junk out and we don't fill it with more treasures, guess what the drawer's going to look like very soon? Full of more junk, too. Or empty. One of the other visual I use, like just using denials without affirmations, is like, you ever play that amusement game Whack-A-Mo? We spend our whole life playing whack-a-mole. Oh, bad thought. Boom. And what happens? It pops up somewhere else, doesn't it? I don't know if that's a good analogy, but I like it. Whack-a-mole. What's Stu talk about today? Whack-a-mole. And you know, I don't know about you, I have plenty of things to practice denials on, and most of them are the denials I already say to myself, like I deny my deserving. I deny that I can heal. I deny I'm a child of God. I deny that I'm abundant. I can deny those. And I can deny the importance that I assign to things, especially small things. Anybody else? I can definitely deny the importance I assign to some of the small stuff, including my own thoughts. So yes, we can get some practice. Because the truth is that no one, and nothing can stand between you and me and our highest good. Nothing. And what we think stands in the way is simply that, something we think. And we can deny that. Because I think that we probably all have some kind of subconscious belief or beliefs that sabotage us, that block our unfolding. Yes? And denials can disempower those, can loosen their grip on us. Again, especially if we make a truer choice in the next moment. So everybody's aware of affirmations, yes? So again, once we have said or felt a denial, again, just getting our own intention, because you and I have intentions, don't we? You and I have an intention to consent to our God self, yes? You and I have an intention to choose heaven, yes? So we simply want to get our attention back on our intention. And the best way to do that, I know of, is by stating an affirmation. And the only thing I'm going to say, well, maybe I'll say two things about affirmations. First of all, we don't say affirmations to brainwash ourselves into something that's not true. We say affirmations to remember what is true. And the other thing I'm going to say about it is the most powerful affirmations start with I am. So I'm going to ask you for this next week to pay attention to any statement you say that begins with the words I am, and make sure you only follow those with truth. So if you hear yourself think or say, I am broke, or I am hurting, or I am non-deserving, or I am any of these things, this is a perfect time to whip out a denial. Yeah, that's interesting. I am not broke. I am the full expression of God. And even if I am broke, I am not poor. And then, again, turn around, say an affirmation. And the key is, this third key. Anybody counting keys? it just seems to me that we all deserve to know our truth. I mean, what is the point of having one if we don't know it? And denials and affirmations can definitely help us remember our truth, bring us back to our truth, especially if we do it. That's a little bit of foreshadowing for next week's talk on the fifth principle, which is, very simply, do it. Knowing it is not enough. Being able to spout it is not enough. Being able to write a book about it is not enough. Even though it's very cool, Ty. Congratulations. We have some of the most incredible accelerated mind action tools known. We have some of the most beautiful tools to remember our God self, which benefits us, benefits everybody we know, and benefits the world. But we got to dust off those tools. We got to take them out of our tool bag. We got to use them. I'll save this for next week. But you don't have to wait till next week to start using them. Deal? All right. Let's close our eyes for a moment. It's rather incredible that we could choose heaven right now, that we could choose heaven in every moment. Thank you, God, for this beautiful tool, these beautiful tools, the tools of awareness, tools of coming back, the tools of being together in community to help remind each other and to know that we're all making these choices, even when it's not easy. Thank you, God, for that support, these reminders, mostly for preparing that island of peace in our soul so beautifully and with everything we could ever possibly need. Thank you. And so it is. Amen. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Stu. I look forward to listening to that again. Is everyone aware that when we hear that annoying voice recording from that lady, that these are now becoming available on next week's newsletter when it comes out on Wednesday, so you can have the option of re-listening to these messages. I don't believe anyone here today is here for the first time, but if there happens to be someone on Zoom for the first time, and you would like a welcome packet, we would love to send you